Okay. This is a video. I don't know if I can't find the video I've made about this, but it's something I've talked about it so much. Into like when I was doing the when I do reality check, it's basically a way to put things in perspective because they have the same tactics over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and it's still the same thing, right? Uh, and the purpose they do this is to try to gaslight you. It happens all the time, all the time. I think I made a video about this, and it's a way to try to break you down, right? They want you to be doubtful. Obviously, I have no doubts. You can see by the thousands of video, the hundreds of video, that I'm not doubtful. Matter of fact, the reason why I make all those videos is just to show the patterns of what they do. What I'm saying now is something I've said so many times, so many times. I wonder, like, I don't know how these people are able to hear me say the same thing over and over and still try to play like, oh no, like it's just crazy. Because I mean, these people, I'm glad that they have to live this life, or they chose to live this life, because they get to hear me say the same thing and then they have to still do the same thing which is embarrassing in some sort, because you know that he knows, right? There's something they've been doing so many times. I've talked about it many times. And now it's becoming obvious, right? Because initially, as a target individual, you understand that these people have access to everything around you. It's natural to be paranoid. It's natural. It's natural to be paranoid. It's natural to be on high alert. It's natural. Because as a target individual, these people are doing things to break you down, and they've been clear. Some of them right now tell me they stash stuff in my apartment. They're gonna frame me by doing this and that. Like they tell you, I've seen my phone be played with. I've seen it all. I've not seen it all, but I've seen what they've done to how much access they have to whatever they need to have access to, including my place, my apartments, and whatever. You understand this? And so with me, they try so hard to gaslight me using these tactics, which I've talked about it so many times. And I'm going to continuously talk about it. They do this thing where, and now it has become so obvious, they do these things where I lose things, right? Or misplace things. I'm looking for something, right? I know it's somewhere here. I'm looking for it. And then in my mind, I start creating some imagination of them coming, picking up, taking something. Like, initially, it was something that I could be like, okay, yeah, maybe they came and they did this and this. You don't know, because they have access to your place and they can come in whenever they want. So you don't know if they can come in and do it. But now they've done it so much in this way. They've made me think this way so much. And it's so obvious that they're forcing me to think this way. At this point, I'm like, no, most likely it's here somewhere. They don't do this. Like, they do this. Well, they can access my place whenever. They can implant whatever. You understand? If I'm not in this apartment, they can come in however they want, whenever they want. They have keys of my place. I know that. So if they wanted to do that, they could do that all the time. I'm aware of that. But it's not something they usually do. And it's not going to be like something so, and not needed. But something they've done, for example, is when I'm looking for something, they start making me think, oh, they came and they did this and they took this, and then I'm like, no, it's most likely somewhere here, right? And they try to have this like they start making me imagining like they came. For example, I was looking for this like little TF card, right? And it's something I put in my camera so I can, when I have a body camera, so if I'm going around and they try to mess with me, I put that body camera on. So they try to mess with me. When they try to mess with me, I have the camera on me in case of whatever they try to play with me. I was looking for that. I know it's somewhere here, but it's so small. I'm like, oh gosh, it's gonna be hard to find it if I didn't put it in a nice place. In my mind, they tried to make me imagine, oh, somebody came, took that card, did this and that. They did. I'm like, oh gosh, making me imagine all the different things. I'm like, it's somewhere here. So it's just like it's somewhere on the floor, somewhere. I'm gonna find it. And now they try to make me imagine something else. But yeah. And they're like, yeah, no, because that time when you went to the airport, they don't want you to see that person, and so they came and took this look. I'm like, oh, it goes into your brain. I'm not even like, I know it's the BS they come up with. I was like, go with your stories, and then I find it, which is what I expect to do. I expected to find someone on the floor, or maybe in my camera or something like that, and then like, you see, you thought it was us, huh? We did this, huh? Just like you think these pedophilia things we do to you is us. Just like you think that the way we manipulate your brain is us. Just like you think that the way we force you to get stimulations towards whatever we want, it's us, huh? And they're like, now they try to gaslight me. It's like, you see, you thought we did this, so we don't do these things we do to you. And then you hear them try to like disorient you. It's like, oh, you're gonna get raped. Nasty ass is gonna rape you. You're gonna have a new asshole. That's the things I hear. Oh, you're gonna die. They die in hell. You're gonna die in hell. Like, oh my gosh. They do that all the time. For example, and one point is like, I remember the first when I was like making fun of that, because it was so obvious they were making me think that way. I was looking for my glass of water. This started making me think somebody came and took my glass of water. I was like, this is happening every second. That's how. And then I found the glass of water. It's like, oh, you see, you thought it was us. Like, this is how it goes every time. Like, somebody came and took it. I was like, oh, whatever. And now you just obviously forcing me to think like that, so I'm going to find the thing. It's obvious now that they do that. I'm going to find it, and you're going to be like, oh, you see, it's us. It'll be like, if this will happen maybe once in a while, it makes sense, right? Because this is, that they have access to your place. So because of that, you can always have that back over your head. Are they coming? Are they implanting something? Are they taking things? Are they like, you see, they left cigarette butts on my balcony on purpose. They've, like purposely showing that they came. Like, they make sure that they made me understand that they have access to my place. I understand. So it's natural to have that high alert paranoia thing, right? But now it's becoming so obvious. It's like, oh my gosh, no, you're forcing me. Just because of that. Yes, you can actually come in here, take whatever you want, and go back. But because you're forcing me to think this way, it's like, oh. And it didn't, like, for what? What are you going to take? It's like, they try to and then they try to gaslight you. Now, I've said that so many times before. They're going to do that again. Like I said, I'm like a magician. I'm like a prophet to them at this point. I'm going to miss something. They're going to start making me imagine something. I'm going to find it. It's like, and somebody's going to come. It's like, yeah, see, we did this. Whatever. And they use these childlike individuals because they know at this point, this guy has been saying the same thing like for years now. Literally saying that for years. It's like, yeah, he knows that we're going to do that. So then they send a childlike individual who, as you expect as a childlike individual, is not somebody with a lot of self-respect, right? It's a child. And she'll go into like, oh, no, it's you with I'm like, yeah. And then you hear this trash who's trying to like come in the mystical ways. And it's like, oh, yeah, he does know, huh? They have this weird dialogues and scripts. Because I said these things a million times. And the thing I'm going to at one point be like, but my brain has gone so illogical that they can really make sense of it in my brain. Tell my target individual, know that regardless of how your brain goes, understand, they do these nasty things. They manipulate you to think in these disturbing ways. However they gaslight you, okay, even if it's just childlike gaslighting, do not subscribe to these pedophilia things they do to you, or whatever manipulation of thoughts. You know yourself. These people do these things. They're nasty, low-life trash. They don't have to. Self-respect is something they have to sell it. They cannot have that. For example, what I'm saying, I've said it 100 times, and I even said, guess what? I'm going to predict again. I'm going to look for something, and this the same thing. Oh yes, we did this. You gotta be strong, because these bottom feeders are weak, low life. To interrupt me to say what I just said right now, they tell me, how I'm gonna be hurt, tortured. Try to disorient me. Oh, he's gonna be strong. To counter what I just said, because I said you have to be strong. And this bottom feeders whose job is to disrupt me is like, he's strong. That's the job of a grown man. This is the humiliation of us. That's the humiliating life. I don't care what this person is gonna see me go through, but that is one humiliating way to live. However, they try to talk themselves into thinking this is just they're living a non-humiliating life. They really try to like delude themselves into thinking that this is not humiliating. Let me predict this again. Target individual, I'm gonna look for my something here. There's something random. My brain is gonna go there. They're gonna make me imagine some random things. I'm gonna find it. Some bottom feeder contracted trash is gonna start speaking to me via V2K and try to make me subscribe to these things they do to me and gaslight me. So you see, he thought it was us, huh? Just like he thought this pedophilia things is us. To all my target individuals, this is what's been happening non-stop. And then they'll be like, oh, he does, right? Yep. That's their life. And then they're surprised when my predictions happen to be true, even on other things. Stay strong to all my target individuals. Because these bottom feeders, they have no self-respect. They're going to get what's coming for them, but in the meantime, maintain your composure, maintain your self-respect, and be glad that you don't have to live the way they live.